Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the West. Take two. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West Orange Board of Education public meeting on Monday, March 18th, 2024. I would like to thank all of you here in person, and there's an amazing crowd here today to see everyone that's going to be recognized later on the agenda. So welcome, as well as those of you who are watching from home and joining us tonight. I'd like to welcome my fellow board members, as well as Mr. Moore and Ms. Flowers, and our newest board member, Dr. Dia Bryant. Ms. Flowers, would you please take the roll call?
Good evening. Roll call, please. Dr. Bryant.
Here.
Mr. Ifker.
Here.
Mr. Stevenson.
Here.
Ms. Vera.
Here.
Mr. Rock.
Here.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests are discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, a written notice was sent from the Office of the Secretary of the Board on January 6, 2023. That said notice was sent by regular mail to the West Orange Township Clerk and the editors of the West Orange Chronicle and by email to the Star Ledger. That said notice was posted in the lobby of the Administration Building of the Board of Education and posted on the district website. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcasted on local TV and the district's website at a future date. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Ms. Flowers. In consideration of the closed and public meeting of February 26th, 2024, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ifker. Any comments? Hearing none. Ms. Flowers, please take the roll call.
Dr. Bryant.
Here.
Mr. Ifker.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Vice President Vera.
Yes.
President Rock.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next, good evening to our student liaison, Kanai James. Would you please share your student liaison report?
Okay. Starting off, students from the West Orange High School recently explored the Museum of Early Trades and Crafts in Madison, New Jersey as part of their Black History Month activities. And some of these students showcased their art in the gallery windows. Happy Women's History Month to all of the incredible women who shaped our school every day as well. Redwood Elementary School had their 4th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service where they donated 300 kindness kits to those in need. On March 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, West Orange High School Theater Department will be presenting its spring musical, Pippin. Go check it out. Tickets are available at westorangeschool.org/Pippin for $15 each. On March 10th, West Orange High School marching band students for the 71st annual West Orange St. Patrick's Day Parade marched throughout the city, getting support from the Girl Scouts to PAL, MTL, and the ROTC to show West Orange pride and love. The Girls Step team took home first place at its 14th annual Stomp Fest that featured step teams from the tri-state area. Go girls. Spring sports tryouts have begun, and we will look forward to a season officially starting soon. That's all. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Moore with your superintendent's report.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is a nice audience. I feel very welcomed here today, and I'm happy to have you all here. So first, this evening, I would like to address and officially introduce our newest board member, Dr. Dia Bryant. I'd like to welcome her as Ms. Tanya Flowers will issue the oath of office. And any pictures that we may want to take of Ms. Dr. Bryant, we should do so after this.
Thank you,
Tanya?
Dr. Bryant. Yes, Dr. Bryant. Yes, please take the podium, Dr. Bryant. And raise your right hand and read your oath of office, please.
I, Dia Bryant, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and I will bear truth and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people. So help me God. I, Dia Bryant, do solemnly swear and affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of Member of Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant RS 19-4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A 12-1. And I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Sworn and subscribed before me this 18th day of March 2024.
Thank you, Dr. Bryant, and congratulations and welcome. Next, our dispatcher from the Transportation Department is here, Mr. Michael Schaff, please.
Thank you. Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Schaaf. I'm one of the dispatchers at your transportation department. For anyone who's had to call, I'm the grumpy one who's there at 5 a.m. Unfortunately, Mr. Cohen, the Director of Transportation, is unavailable to attend this evening's meeting. Today, we sent a letter out to all the students, parents, and guardians about our new routing software. We will be here to have a meeting with the entire transportation team on March 25th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here in the library. This meeting aims to address any questions or concerns parents or faculty may have regarding the current transportation of their children or the new system's capabilities. Our team is committed to ensuring the best transportation experience for all our students and community, and your input will be invaluable. We are very excited to implement this new technology. It will give us the ability to track our buses anywhere they are. It will also give the drivers an exact turn-by-turn directions to each stop with their tablets. The parents will also have the ability to log onto their phone and see the ETA of their child to their bus stop. Students will have an assigned ID card to swipe getting on and off of the bus. We will then be able to track where a student is at all times, and there's so much more for the transportation faculty and parents to utilize with this new system. So please mark your calendars and join Mr. Cohen, myself, and the entire transportation team on March 25th for a more detailed discussion of the program. Tonight, I'll be available briefly at the side of the room there for any questions. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it, and that's very exciting. Transportation has been quite the challenge, but I thank you for all the work you put in, Mike. I know you work very hard for us all, and I know my son rides the bus as well, so I know it hasn't been easy, so thank you very much. And I think this new tracking system changes the game, gives parents access to knowing where their students are at all times, so thank you for that.
It most certainly will.
We
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
So that's March 25th, right? 6 to 8, March 25th. The public is welcome to come and speak with our transportation department. Okay, so the highlight of our evening, I hope, well, one of the highlights. Tonight, we have the pleasure of introducing our Governor's Educator of the Year nominees. The Governor's Educator of the Year program is designed to highlight educational innovation, student achievement, the rewards of teaching, and the important services outside the classroom environment that lead to student success. The program recognizes our state's best teachers and educational services professionals. Every Teacher of the Year and Educational Service Professional of the Year that was registered by the specific deadline will receive a state certificate. But tonight, we have created our own opportunity for recognition, as well as a certificate from our Board of Education. So tonight we'll honor our teachers and educational services personnel that do other things besides teaching. And I thank you for joining us tonight. It's very important. They're the heart and soul of our entire town, our teachers, and our educational service providers as well. So let's start it off with our first principal, Miss Connie Salambino of the Betty Madalena Preschool.
Any particular order? All right.
Take it over.
I'm doing it like the kids do.
Okay.
So I'm going to begin with Betty Madalena Early Learning Center's Educator of the Year. I am honored to present Jessica Cicerone for Betty Madalena's Educator of the Year. I could just talk about Jess. Jess is truly a dedicated teacher. She came to us as a student teacher many, many years ago. And through that time, I have had the honor of watching her hone her skills into someone who exemplifies good teaching. She can take your most challenging learner, embody the curriculum, and embed behavioral strategies so that learning becomes fun in Jess's room. Jess, it is my terrific privilege to have you here tonight. Come on up. Stay. Never. Okay. Next, it is my honor and privilege to bring up Miss Merrill Tillis, who is our Educational Support Person of the Year. I have worked with Miss Tillis as a colleague for 18 years. She is caring, kind, and dedicated. She assists our students and teachers at the Betty Madalena Preschool program at Washington Elementary School. Merrill, where are you? Come on up. To keep it brief, both of these women embody everything that is good and what we should strive to be in education and in special education. I love working with both of you. Thank you for the honor.
Before we bring up our next principal, I just want all the recipients and the administrators, there is a step and repeat so that all your pictures can be taken in the back. If you want to take pictures with your family as well, of course, you're welcome to do so as well. So congratulations and thank you.
Yep.
Next, I ask Principal Makeda Hewitt to please join us at the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Gregory Elementary School's Governor's Educator of the Year is Mrs. Terry Bonagora, and I am also going to do it like the kids here on the telephone. It was with great pleasure that I'm able to speak a little bit about why Terry Bonagora deserves this honor. To put it simply, she is the epitome of what an educator, what a teacher should be. She is the 5th grade math teacher that every parent should want their child to have. And she is the 5th grade math teacher that we all wish we had when we were kids. After dedicating 39 years to teaching, she is still one of the most highly motivated and extraordinarily conscientious teachers that I've worked with in my professional experience. She develops lessons that are innovative, fun, and specific to each of the learners in her classroom. She intentionally develops learning experiences that push students' thinking to the next level so that they can grasp challenging mathematical concepts in a short period of time. Every single school year, Mrs. Bonagora's students' achievement data speaks glowing volumes about her teaching style and what she does in the classroom with them, the connections she makes with all of her students. The amount of growth that her students demonstrate in their ability to understand mathematical equations and algorithms is nothing short of incredible. She is the educator to aspire to be. She inspires all of us. Inspires me. It has been a pleasure working with you. Come on up, Mrs. Bonagora, to accept your certificate, and congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Next, I ask Principal Joel Castillo to please come to the podium.
I'm old school, so I have paper. Mrs. Taylor is Hazel Elementary School's Educator of the Year. So Mrs. Taylor, can you please come up? Congratulations to Mrs. Taylor. Mrs. Taylor has been a dedicated educator for over 15 years. She is always striving to provide not only the best learning for her students, but also fosters a loving and caring classroom. She is a teacher that goes above and beyond for her students each day, and each day starts and ends with a smile. Mrs. Taylor is committed to her Hazel community, but also to raising her two beautiful children in collaboration with her husband. If you were to look up supportive in the dictionary, you would see the definition, Ms. Leslie Taylor. Thank you for being you.
Congratulations. Next, I call Principal David Marion to the podium.
Good evening, everybody. It's my honor to present to you Kelly Elementary's Governor's Educator Service Professional of the Year and our Governor's Educator of the Year. We'll start with the Governor's Educator of the Year, Mr. Anthony Carcillo, fifth grade math teacher here at Kelly. Mr. Carcillo is what we look for in our educators. He is a true professional who shows genuine care for his students that he serves while implementing effective instructional practices in his lesson. Mr. Carcillo wears multiple hats at Kelly Elementary, including but not limited to teacher, colleague, tech guru, AV specialist, and assembly producer. Mr. Carcillo's willingness to go above and beyond for his students and his school is greatly appreciated. Congratulations, Anthony. And now for our Governor's Educator Service Professional of the Year, Ms. Nicole Dalamale. Mrs. Dalamale is a leader at Kelly Elementary and a strong advocate for students, staff, and parents. She always puts the needs of her students first and never hesitates to jump in and roll up her sleeves to help her fellow Kelly Elementary family members. Her knowledge, demeanor, and her ability to stay calm in crisis situations will serve her well as she pursues her certification in educational leadership. Congratulations, Nicole. Thank you.
Congratulations. Next, I call Principal Mark Lawrence to the podium, Mount Pleasant.
Thank you and good evening, everybody. Mount Pleasant's nominee for the Governor Educator of the Year is Alyssa DeFinis. Alyssa, if you can come on up here. I found myself in a unique position as a first-year elementary principal at Mount Pleasant while I've been in West Orange for 20 years, charged with the task of making this nomination. And I knew it was going to take a little while for me to adjust to the elementary world, but it didn't take me very long to recognize which teacher should be recognized here this evening, and that is Alyssa DeFinis. She is an amazing educator. She's dedicated to her students. to her peers. She's an amazing resource inside and outside the classroom. When she's not creating and delivering amazing lessons with her students, she's working with her peers. She's meeting with reading specialists. She's trying to be the best teacher she can be. It's countless evenings. I'll walk in, I'll do a little tour in the afternoon to see who's around after hours. And most of the time I could find Alyssa DeFinis in that classroom working hard. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to recognize her efforts this evening. And no one deserves it more. Congratulations, Alyssa. You deserve it.
Congratulations. Next, I call Principal Kimia Jackson of Redwood.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I would like to recognize two of our staff members at Redwood. The first one is our Governor's Educator Service Professional Employee of the Year, and that would be Maureen Lilly. She has been, I'm sorry. Maureen Lilly has been an exceptionally talented paraprofessional at Redwood for 6 years. She has a unique ability to effectively support students at any grade level, with or without disabilities. So we congratulate her this evening, Miss Maureen Lilly. Next, we have Governor's Educator of the Year Award for Melissa Halter. She's been with us, oh, I'm sorry, no, clap, go ahead. She's been with us for 28 years in this district. She continues to be a consummate professional. As an academic support teacher, she has implemented best practices to meet the needs of our neediest students. Melissa has always been a committed member of the Redwood community and she has made us her second home, especially when she bakes us cookies around the holidays. We are honored to have her. Congratulations, Ms. Halter.
Congratulations. Next, I call on Principal Eric Price, St. Cloud.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you, members of the board. And thank you for this opportunity to celebrate so many amazing educators. From St. Cloud School this year, we'd like to recognize two veteran teachers who have been with us for decades, and they are amazing. First off is Mrs. Jenny Garcia Rezick. Come on up, Jenny. You can tell how loved they are by the amount of people here from St. Cloud School. So just amazing. Mrs. Jenny Garcia Rezick is currently in her 33rd year as a public educator and in her 32nd year as an educator here in West Orange. In fact, Mrs. Rezick began her career at St. Cloud Elementary School, completing her student teaching practicum as a sophomore, and then finishing up with her student teaching as a senior. She went to the West New York public school system for only 1 year as a middle school special education teacher and ELL teacher. And thankfully, Mrs. Rezick rejoined the West Orange community to begin her long and illustrious career. She began teaching in the 3rd grade and going on to teach the 2nd grade, the 5th grade, and the 6th grade in social studies and math, as well as special education. She did both pull-out and inclusion, math, ELA, social studies, and science. Mrs. Garcia Rezick then taught Spanish at the elementary level, where she implemented and taught the elementary Spanish program as it began here in the West Orange public school system. She taught at all 7 elementary schools in grades 2nd through 5th. She also mentored the fifth grade elementary Spanish teachers to introduce the program in all 7 elementary schools. She has served as a cooperating teacher for over a dozen student teachers throughout her career. And in addition, she has taught the district's summer enrichment programs, provided services in conversational Spanish 1 and 2 to the West Orange staff. She's been invaluable to me as a translator throughout the years I've spent with her. She was a mentor to staff members in their first year of teaching and taught in the 4th and 5th grade summer ESY program. Mrs. Rezic Garcia has also served on a variety of committees through her tenure. She's currently teaching 5th grade pull-out resource and in-class support, and she also serves as an advisor to the Student Council and Conflict Resolution Clubs at St. Cloud. She is a can-do, will-do educator who has changed the lives of hundreds of students that she has taught and has helped to make St. Cloud the amazing school it is today. She is a master teacher, trustworthy and respected colleague, and an amazing mom and wife. Thank you, Jenny. All right, let's bring up Mrs. Michelle Frazee as our second Governor's Award, another amazing educator and loved by the St. Cloud, her colleagues at St. Cloud. Mrs. Frazee has served 34 years in the West Orange Public Schools, so we're talking 67 years in total up here. She was a 4th grade and 5th grade teacher. That was her specialty, and she taught at Gregory School, Redwood School, and St. Cloud. For the past 10 years, she has served as an academic support teacher for our upper grades. She has served on a variety of committees throughout her career, including the math committees, and she's written the math curriculum for the elementary. Mrs. Frazee's efforts as an academic support teacher has been nothing short of amazing. She is so thorough in her preparation and incorporates all of her years of experience into finding the best way to shine light for her students on their path to learning. She is a fixture on all of our INRS committees and will be missed not only for her wisdom, but also as a problem solver and a calm sage for her colleagues. Have an amazing retirement, Michelle, with your husband, children, and growing gaggle of grandkids.
Congratulations. Next, I call on an iconic principal. Ladies and gentlemen, West Orange's very own principal, the principal of Washington Elementary School. You can't talk about West Orange without her, Miss Marie DeMayo.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see everyone. The Governor's Educator of the Year at Washington School is Catherine Fitzpatrick, a kindergarten teacher for 31 years with 31 years of service. But at this time, Mrs. Fitzpatrick is on medical leave, so she couldn't be with us. But I want to tell you a few things about her. During her 31 years of service at Washington School, Catherine Fitzpatrick has represented everything that is good about education. She demonstrates a true dedication and interest for her kindergarten students, parents, colleagues, and community. She is an instructional leader, a great professional, and an outstanding role model for everyone. She is passionate and trustworthy with a clear vision of desired success for all her little students. I want to thank Catherine Fitzpatrick for her wonderful leadership as the Teacher of the Year and for everything she gives to our Washington family. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I call on Edison Middle School's administration, principals Steve Melendez and Dr. Carrie Orange, assistant principal.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight I have here with me three outstanding women. All right. Dr. Carrie Orange Jones, who has been such a great partner and who I'm so happy to be working with at Edison Middle School. So thank you, Dr. Orange Jones. We also have two additional outstanding women who I work with every day and who are in the classroom helping our students, helping them grow, helping them learn, caring about them the same way that their parents care about them. And those are Violetta Baluta and Miss Pamela Stewart. You can clap. So I'm going to introduce the Teacher of the Year, which is Violetta Baluta, and Dr. Orange Jones will talk about Miss Pamela Stewart. So Ms. Baluta is a consummate professional who cares about all students. She is passionate about the content she teaches and does so with professionalism and creativity. Ms. Baluta embodies the true spirit of teaching as she engages students by igniting their curiosity. When I think of Ms. Baluta, I see someone who is committed to her students and is a great role model. In fact, she has run in the New York City Marathon, and in 3 weeks, she'll be running in the Boston Marathon. So we wish her the best of luck. So I would just like to say to Ms. Baluta how thankful we are to have you teaching at Edison Middle School. You really make Edison a special place to be, and I am honored to be your principal. Thank you.
Good evening. First off, Dr. Bryant, congratulations. It's Women's History Month and you're making history, so I appreciate that. So I'm going to talk about Ms. Pamela Halstead Stewart. Both she and Violetta have my admiration because they are runners and I hate running. And so anybody who can do that and do it well has my admiration. Ms. Halstead Stewart is an outstanding guidance counselor, and she is beyond deserving of being named Educational Services Professional of the Year, representing Thomas Edison Central 6 Middle School. She never hesitates when asked to assist students and colleagues. Further, she provides support by reaching out to families in the community. One of her strengths is understanding and providing ongoing social emotional learning and support, ensuring that she implements those supports in her guidance lessons regularly. Ms. Halstead Stewart takes the time to engage all students. She is also a role model who shares her love of running as a coach and mentor for Girls on the Run. She nurtures a student-centered environment that respects cultural diversity and uses her skills and resources effectively. She has the respect of colleagues and peers who appreciates all that she does daily. I know I certainly do. Thus, it is without hesitation that Pamela Halstead Stewart is receiving our support and accolades for Educational Services Professional of the Year. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Next, I call on Principal of Liberty Middle School, Mr. Xavier Fitzgerald, and his assistant, if he's here. Oh, Mr. Xavier Fitzgerald.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, now y'all know I'm gonna do better than that. Good evening, everyone. No, you can do better than that. Good evening, everyone. We are here to celebrate some very good people who have done outstanding things. So I'm gonna ask two people, Miss Melissa Martino and also Mr. Aaron Carr. Could you please come up, please? I don't go into separating support staff from teacher staff because at the end of the day, at Liberty Middle School, these two people are glued to what makes Liberty tick. They hold it together. And when I first got to Liberty last year, the first person I met was Aaron Carr, because he stood right outside the door. And his desk is right there. And from day one to whatever day this is, he's been my sounding board. I've learned more about Liberty Middle School than just being there. He's able to tell me about students. He's able to tell me about teachers. He's able to tell me about parents. He's able to tell me about the environment and the culture and climate of that building. And he's my security guard. Okay? So please understand, it has nothing to do with your position in life. It has to do with your influence in life. Now, see, I had this whole thing written out, and I know Ms. Hughes told me to keep it short, so I'm going to keep this one short, okay? The next person I'm going to introduce is Miss Melissa Martino. I met Melissa some 5 years ago. We were working on the math curriculum. We did a math audit some years ago, and we sat down. And the first thing that I said after I finished that curriculum audit was, I really want to work with her. Now, I told her this last year. She looked at me like this, like, what are you talking about? And what it meant was, as a math teacher myself, and what she does as a math teacher in the classroom, math teachers know math. And it's more important to know students. You know, I always ask my people that I'm interviewing, what do you teach? And if they tell me they teach their subject area, that may be like a red flag for me. Because the first thing that I'm listening to, and I learned this from Mr. Corrado some years ago as my mentor, he said, your teachers should say, we teach students. We don't teach a subject. And what you see here today are two outstanding educators in their position and in their field of education. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Melissa Martino, Teacher of the Year, and Mr. Aaron Carr, Support Staff Member of the Year. See, I kept it short.
Congratulations and thank you. Next, I call on Roosevelt Middle School Administration, Principal Lionel Hush, and Assistant Principal, Miss Olivia Batantis.
Good evening. Our educational support of the year is Miss Melissa Bueno. Ms. Bueno's formal role is a paraprofessional, but she brings so much more to the students and staff at Roosevelt. She is often assigned to work with students with moderate to complex academic, organizational, social, and emotional challenges and helps them to navigate the demands of middle school in as typical as a way possible. She demonstrates her commitment by extending her support to not only the students she is responsible for, but to all students in every environment she's involved in. She has a steady and compassionate air about her, is insightful, flexible, and willing to support a student or staff member however she can. Ms. Bueno is a caring and such a tremendous resource as she comes to know the students beyond the scope of their IEPs, but as young individual people. The students she works with are supported, valued, and are learning. She is a wonderful professional and role model in the building for both students and staff. And though she has only been at Roosevelt for a few years, she has proved to be an invaluable member of our school family. It is a privilege to work with her as she truly brings the best every day and inspires many of us to do the same. Melissa Bueno. Governor Educator of the Year, Ms. Tracy Nardone. In 30 years, she has been teaching at Roosevelt. She has established a rigorous learning environment that enables her students to excel in ELA and actually enjoy doing it. As strong as she is with her ELA content, where she shines even more
is her rapport and interactions with the students. The amount of connection she has made over the years and the love and respect the students have for her is a testament to her ability to reach our students and make a difference in their lives. She addresses the social and emotional needs of the children with the same vigor she applies to her teaching. Students can always tell when teachers really care about them. And so many flock to Tracy because of her genuine concern and gentle humor. They come to her for emotional support, advice, and guidance, and continue to do so well after they graduate. She provides the love and care and attention needed to nurture their growth, and consequently helps make Roosevelt a place of comfort for so many students. Roosevelt Middle School has served as a home away from home for so many children, and staff members like Tracy Nardone are part of the reason why. She is one of the most skilled and knowledgeable teachers in the district that leaves lasting impressions on the lives of the children she touches. She is well respected by her colleagues and serves as a great role model for younger educators in the field. Tracy Nardone.
Congratulations and thank you. Next, I call on our high school principal, Mr. Oscar Guerrero.
Raise this up a little bit. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to second the congratulations to Dr. Bryant. Welcome aboard. I'd like to first call up our Educational Services Professional of the Year, Mr. Amadeo Chirichiello. Better known as Mr. C, Mr. C has served the West Orange School District for 16 years as the substance awareness coordinator, anti-bullying specialist, and a licensed professional counselor. He is the ultimate team player who always makes himself available to advocate and support our students. He serves as a valuable resource to district personnel on substance awareness and abuse issues. And in a year like this one, and in years since the pandemic, where mental health, the demand for mental health is at an all-time high, he is a pivotal member of our team here at the high school. He is also the sharpest dresser at West Orange High School. Congratulations, Mr. Chirichiello.
That's because I left.
I humbly and respectfully disagree, Mr. Moore. But next up, I'd like to call up our Educator of the Year, Dr. Victor Alcindor. Dr. Alcindor is an accomplished educator holding advanced degrees in English, criminology, and a doctorate from Drew University. According to his colleagues, some of the aspects of Dr. Alcindor's teaching style that makes him truly special are his ability to convey complex concepts with clarity and enthusiasm, as well as his ability to connect with students on a personal level. Dr. Alcindor constantly challenges students to think critically, pushing them beyond their perceived limits. He genuinely cares for his students' well-being and takes the time to understand their strengths and their weaknesses. During my brief time working alongside Dr. Alcindor, I have been impressed by the admirable leadership qualities he consistently demonstrates. Beyond the curriculum, he has pushed his colleagues to look inwardly on how they approach instruction while leading professional development on critical topics such as equity and access. West Orange High School is very fortunate to have educators like Dr. Alcindor and Mr. Chirichiello. Thank you. Not to go off script, because I know we have to take some pictures. We had a special occurrence within the last week and a half, and I'd like our Director of Athletics and our Director of Athletics, Mr. Stephen Zakella, and our wrestling coach, Mr. Mazuri, to come up to speak on the next recipient.
First, I'd like to call up the wonderful and talented Miss Sandy Guerrero. Bring some of that hardware up. So, Coach Matz, can you make sure they're carefully put down in front here so that people can see? Before I get into the great accomplishments of Sandy, I just want to thank the Board of Education for everything they do for the athletic program, all our schools, honoring the staff today. It's really very special that we received this. And I also like to welcome Dr. Bryant. You're a Mountaineer now, right? Once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer. So thank you for serving. The great journey of Sandy Guerrero began when she was 8 years old. She was a Redwood Rocket, and yeah, and she decided to go out for the sport of wrestling, which was at the time male dominated. And she continued her career through middle school, where she wrestled for. She was Liberty Middle School Lion. And, just overcoming so many challenges in this sport. She stayed the course, and her junior year, the state said, we're going to create a girls wrestling tournament. There were a few states that did that. So to overcome all that she did to be in this sport and have to compete against males, it was very, very difficult for her, but she showed up every single day and gave her best. And that year, she became a state medalist. She placed 4th that year, and she cried and cried and cried. And it was like, Sandy, like, we're so proud of you. And she's like, no, her senior year came along, and she was determined. It was a different young lady. And what she overcame to be Essex County's and West Orange's first state champion that year was really amazing. The tears happened. It happened before the match for like an hour. She was crying before a match. I'm like, oh no. But she overcame everything. She was undefeated that year, and she won her state championship. The world shut down the week later. It was almost four years to the day. COVID shut down, and wrestling was very difficult. But in her high school career, she really grew girls wrestling. We started off with really only her. She brought in an athlete, Daniela Takuri, and when she graduated, we had 21 girls in our wrestling program. It was one of the biggest programs, and it's because of her. It's because of the support of the administration. So, fast forward, she goes to the New Jersey City University on the President's Scholarship. There she competes. Her first year, she gains All-American status, places top 8 in the country. Her second year, she does the same thing, places All-American. This is her 3rd year of college. She entered into the college wrestling tournament as the number 3 seed. There, she came from behind in a few of the matches. Down, was it 5-0 in the semis? 5-1 in the quarters, and then 6-0 in the finals. She fought her way, as she had done her whole career in this male-dominated sport. She fought her way, and down 6-0 in the finals, she pinned a girl from Iowa University to be the first New Jersey national champion in college. That's the small trophy you see right there. That's the small one. The big one, of the 10 national champions, again, no New Jersey wrestler had ever been crowned as such. They decided to make her, there was only one, the outstanding wrestler of the tournament, and that was our Sandy Guerrero, West Orange's Sandy Guerrero, outstanding wrestler. In our program, she is a legend. She really is. And Coach Mazurk, I asked him to come up here because he named an award after our most outstanding wrestler, which she so elegantly presented on Friday at the awards banquet. But Mr. Moore had always reminded us, and COVID really slowed things down in how we could honor you, Sandy. But he always said, you better put up a poster, Sandy. You better make sure it's right for the Guerrero family, who does a lot for our community with No Limit Martial Arts. But Sandy, Coach Mazurk came up with the design. We are going to blow this up with your approval. We're going to blow this up, and we are going to hang it in the wrestling room. Thank you for being just a champion person, a champion wrestler. We love you and we're so proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Sandy Guerrero.
Sandy is a very important mountaineer. We talk about mountaineers climbing and reaching the apex of their potential. Sandy represents what it means to be a mountaineer. She's a trailblazer. And I am so proud to be a mountaineer alongside Sandy Guerrero. Sandy Guerrero, you mean a lot to us. I will never forget you. I'm happy I got a chance to be a part of you being your principal and getting to witness you wrestle myself. But thank you, because today you may not understand how important you are, but tomorrow another person will. You've opened up a lot of doors and you've motivated a lot of people, and you're from right here in West Orange. We're so proud of you, and thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Ifker?
Yeah. Thank you. Just as a off-the-cuff comment, could we ask the Guerrero family to stand up?
The Guerrero family?
I mean, as hard as you worked, champions don't fall from the sky. They come from people like this. This is a family that, if you've ever been to their martial arts academy, we talk about inclusive here all the time. They have world-class athletes on one end, special needs kids like my son on the other, and everything in between, and all different languages spoken. It's a crazy, fun, wonderful place. And when we talk about West Orange having special people, this is what we're talking about. So I thank you. I thank you.
So I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. What we will do is we're going to take a break and an intermission before we start our presentations. Will be ELA and the budget. Oh, wait, don't everyone get up at once. Fake it out. Pretend I'm not boring. You're like, I'm in the mid-conversation. Everybody got their coat on. No, I understand. I used to do the same thing. But it's different when you're sitting here, though. It hurts a little, right? But we do have two presentations. If you're bored, ELA and, of course, the budget. So, you're welcome to stay. But if not, please take pictures in the back by our step and repeat. And thank you for coming out. And congratulations to all our recipients.
Never heard that. Step in the feet. Yes, step. People
ain't even want to wait for me.
We will bring the meeting back to session. Thank you all. And now we're good. All right. So the West Orange Board of Education meeting is now back in session. And Mr. Moore, please continue with your report.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome back. And now we will have a presentation regarding our ELA program, hosted by our very own Assistant Superintendent, Ms. Ebony Demendez. Ebony. Yes, thank you, Ebony.
Thanks.
All right, good evening. Good evening to our board, to our community members. This evening, the ELA committee is going to present an update on our ELA program and make a recommendation to the board for adoption for the 2024-25 school year. We had a longer presentation scheduled and more people to present, but because of so many activities today, we condensed it a little bit. So I just want to thank the people in advance who had prepared earlier. So this evening, we're going to walk the board and our community through our recommendations. Thank you to the committee members. I'd like them to stand. These are our ELA committee members, some of them who, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Who've been working for 2 years on this recommendation. We published a calendar of dates and I think we quadrupled it. So thank you. Thank you for your time, for your commitment, for your effort for this recommendation. Well informed, well done, and we appreciate all of your time. I'd also like to thank Ms. Beatrice Hanratty. She's our K-5 ELA supervisor. This was a heavy lift and it would not have been done without her. So she eloquently and formidably chaired this committee and made sure that everything that was needed was here for us to, again, make a good decision. So we're going to begin. Thank you to our board. These are our committee members. You'll notice that this committee started last year and it has a very broad and diverse representation across the district. Curriculum and instruction, general education, special education, English as a second language, academic support, reading specialists, and principals were all involved in this decision. Not just the committee members, but we also went out to our entire K-5 staff where they sampled materials, piloted, where they really delved into what it was that we were examining, exploring, gave us feedback monthly to let us know if we were on progress, if we were moving in the right direction, and what they were considering as a priority. The ELA committee purpose was to conduct a formal evaluation of the program. It included our instructional components, materials, and assessment, really thinking about alignment to the revised ELA standards and to address the pillars of reading and the new research that came out to make sure that we are grounding our recommendation in highly effective strategies for reading instruction. There were many primary considerations. The first was the revision of the ELA standards. These were adopted October 4th of this year. We must implement in the fall. And these standards really covered a lot of gaps that existed. So a question that's often asked to us is, if we're teaching to the standards and we're being assessed on the standards, then why are our scores where they are, right? I think the state realized that as well. The state saw that there were so many gaps and that the student performance results were coming back deficient in very concrete areas. And so then they revised them. So here we are in an opportune time to revise our curriculum and our selection in alignment with these standards. Our second consideration was our state assessment results. While we have made significant progress, and I just want to commend our teachers, you'll see that we went up from around the 35th percentile, grade 3, 51.9, grade 4, 63.5, and last year, grade 5, 70% proficiency. We're making gains. We're making nice, healthy gains. And then in the right side, you'll see the students who are right at the cusp. They're right there at proficiency. So we have another 16 to 23% of our students who are right there in proficiency. So we believe that by aligning to the standards, by introducing the structured literacy components, by filling in the gaps, by getting the resources that the teachers need in a core comprehensive program, we're going to make those gains. Additionally, our teacher feedback let us know that they would like a core comprehensive program versus supplemental materials, right? That they would like something where they could go to everything in one organized place, have very clear guides, very clear resources, structures that permitted for the differentiation that we're expecting, et cetera, and that the usability was present in these materials. So that was their feedback. And then additionally, we had all of the research that came out.
So as Mr. Mendez said, the committee developed primary considerations, and some of those were around the 5 pillars of literacy by the National Reading Panel to make sure we were addressing phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, comprehension. Also to the committee not listed on there, very important was grammar based on the feedback, right? That was an area that we really need to address. Within that, we also wanted to make sure we were addressing all our student populations. We were hitting our diverse learners. The committee wanted to make sure we were representing our special education population, our multilingual population, our academic intervention supports, that we were checking all those boxes as we were looking. Also, this is Scarsborough's rope, which is grounded in decades of research for balanced literacy, for science of reading. All of the research goes back to this rope. Very basic overview. On the bottom is word recognition. So you'll have phonological awareness, decoding, and you'll notice there's a thread for each one of those concepts. And then when we move up, it moves to the language comprehension, background knowledge, language structures, all those pieces, and each one there has a strand, and they're weaved together, right? And when they all come together, the word recognition and the language comprehension, we now develop our skilled readers. So we have to make sure we're hitting all of those pieces, and that encompasses in it.
And so this was our process and timeline. Again, we started last year in February with a review of the program, action planning in the fall. Today, we are making our recommendation to the board. And then pending that recommendation, we would begin our implementation plan, curriculum development, and professional development this year, April.
So we began our instructional material review. We reviewed over 13 different programs and resources. We looked at K-5 core comprehensive programs, which encompassed everything. We also looked at supplemental materials, other instructional materials as well to support grammar, other parts of reading. And then we shifted, once we narrowed that down to 2 of the core programs is what was selected by the committee. Then we began those pilots. We did those pilots within every school for the 2 programs representative of different grade levels. And I would like to introduce Mr. Eric Price, principal of St. Cloud, so he can talk to you a little bit about how the school-based experience was through that material exploration.
Thank you, Beatrice, and thank you, Ebony. I just want to say that we're really grateful for the committee that was put together, all the time you guys put in. This was a big task. It was a big ask, and we're really, really just the administrators, principals are very thankful for all the work you've done, and we're excited about Interreading and the program we're getting. To speak to, as an administrator, as a principal of school, how we've been kind of incorporated into the process so far. We have been, a part, we've had 2 representatives from our school, Emma Pacifico, who's a 2nd grade teacher, and Mrs. Tara Capra, who's a 4th grade teacher. Both phenomenal teachers, really thoughtful, very considerate, and earnest in their openness to the products out there. So in terms of the opportunities that were granted to our teachers to take a look at the materials, that is my view and Interreading. The materials were in at St. Cloud, as they were at all 7 elementary schools, for a month. We worked hard as principals to provide opportunities for our teachers to go If we could schedule it, it was with grade bands, so they were able to go down, look at the work, talk great practice, look at the materials side by side, and be able to make an educated and thorough consideration of both programs. They were then piloted. These materials were available to the teachers for a month, so they had ample opportunity to go down. They were encouraged to take it home if they wanted to take pieces of it, even to teach, to see how that worked. But really to be able to test drive. And that's where, when the rubber hits the road, we have to see how these resources actually translate into day-to-day operations K through 5. And so we had that opportunity to do that with the pilot. We piloted into reading in 2nd grade, and we piloted My View in the 4th grade. So we had the opportunity to watch the lessons being taught. We were able to talk about it and critique those lessons to see where they were strong and where we needed some support or some concerns. And all of our teachers had the opportunity. Again, we provided our teachers coverages. Teachers went in during their preps, and they went into the classrooms and watched it work. So we felt really satisfied with the overall process. We felt there was transparency. We were looking for engagement, right? Kids engaged in learning, and rigor, okay? And also differentiation. How do these materials, will they be able to meet the needs of all of our learners in the school? For ELLs, kids that need stretching, all of our students. And in the end, it was pretty unanimous. Into Reading came through as the best package of resources, comprehensive package. No program is perfect, right? That's a tall order, but Into Reading was provided what we thought was the most value and the greatest resources that we could get. So the teachers are excited about it. We as administrators are excited about it. We're looking for continuity, right? K through 5. We're making sure that we're covering it, that the word studies in there, right? Grammar's in there, comprehension, phonics, phonemic awareness. All of those components are present in Into Reading. So just thank you for the opportunity to really dive into it, to understand it, to think about it critically, and to make a choice democratically. So I think it has worked really well. All right, thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Price and to all our principals who really spent a good amount of time with our consultants, even just going through the materials, examining the materials for themselves, so that when they were working with our teachers, that they could be of good support. Now I'm going to ask Ms. Lisa DiMichele to come up to talk about My View. She piloted My View and recommended Into Reading. So I think this is a good, valuable comment.
Hi. Here are some reasons why I decided to select Into Reading. One thing I saw was very strong student engagement. I observed this in 2 grade levels, a primary grade and an upper grade, and I was truly blown away, the teachers here, by the student engagement. They were using the vocabulary, how they were just interacting with the text, the discussion that they were having. I was truly blown away. And I kept saying to her, I'm blown away by the discussions that they're having. They were so involved and engaged. I just loved it. Another reason I chose Into Reading was students have their own books. And since they have their own books, they're able to mark up the text. There are spots for them to respond to their reading. The teachers also have a similar book called the Teaching Pal, which is very user-friendly and it's easy to use, and it has teaching points highlighted on the side of the pages instead of having Post-its all over the place. It's already printed with these highlights within the text. There's a very rich vocabulary for each grade level. Students are engaging with words, they're drawing, they're discussing, they're role-playing. Interventions were given for differentiation. There's a wealth of materials to use for small group. The online platform was user-friendly. Slideshows are available for the teachers to use to accompany their lessons. There's rigor. The students are learning 4 to 5 concepts a week. There's a nice structure to the lessons, and with the structure, we'll be able to maintain fidelity. There's also a lot of critical thinking. And I just have to say, throughout the whole process, it's been very transparent, and the teachers and the staff have been very appreciative of that, because they felt like they've been a part of the whole process, and they felt like they knew what was going on every step of the way.
I'm going to ask Amanda Goldman to come up. One of our priorities is definitely making sure that whatever we adopt, it's comprehensive for all of our students. So she's going to speak to us about the teacher perspective in special education.
Hi. So I teach second grade pull-out resource at Redwood, and I'm going to speak to you a little bit about the teacher's response to choosing the curriculum. So first of all, teachers were really excited that this is going to be a core program, that all the materials are in one place. There's materials at our fingertips. All the pieces are fit together seamlessly, which is great for teachers and therefore great for instruction. Teachers also love that the lessons are linked to the new standards, right? We're in professional development, we're learning about the new standards that are coming, and teachers were asking, wait, well, these standards, is this in this new curriculum? And a big sigh of relief, like, great, this is ready for the goals and outcomes that we're headed for. Another strength that teachers are really excited about is that tricky balance of foundational skills and critical thinking, right? We've got these young learners, and there's a lot to happen. We need really strong foundational skills that are getting our young students up and strong readers, while also challenging them to think critically, challenging them to have discussions. And we found that this program really took both of those and blended them really nicely. Finally, there are so many resources for differentiation in this program. Teachers can take different components and give their students more of foundational skills if that's what they need. Or there's graphic organizers linked right to the lesson. There's so many opportunities for teachers to use their expertise and to use those resources and bring it to their students. And then one other thing I wanted to say that has been said was that this process has been really open. When I joined, I wanted to be part of this, one, because I care about this so much, right? Like, I'm a big teacher dork. I want us to be doing all of these things and want to be part to make sure that that's happening. But also I was curious, like, how does this happen? How are we choosing curriculum? And it's been so open. Teachers' opinion has been really valued and sought after. So it's been a really great experience, and I think it's leading us to a great recommendation.
So then Mr. Price, he already did the bum, right? And so interreading was the choice. Interreading was the choice. 74.4% of the staff recommended interreading. 20.2 did recommend my view, and 5% actually said, let's stay with what we have. So with 74.4%, we think we have great confidence to move forward with this recommendation tonight on the board agenda. You will see that the board is being asked to adopt interreading. You will also see some follow-up recommendations on the agenda for the purchase of the instructional materials, for the professional development, and for the beginning of the curriculum development, all of which will be funded by ESSER. And so then a comprehensive research-based instruction for all learners, our priority. And so then we're going to talk about the foundational skills.
So the connected foundational skills, right, we talked a lot about, that's the core of the early literacy skills. And that's going to be through direct explicit instruction, making sure we hit phonics, decoding, spelling, word recognition, fluency, all of those components. We need to be systematic and consistent. It needs to be realistically placed, and that's going to come through curriculum development. And we want to make sure that the concepts are building on one another. And that's one thing that the program does support. It also, we wanted to, a lot of the feedback and the current research, right, that we needed to incorporate more structured literacy into our balanced literacy program. And for structured literacy, there are 6 evidence-based components, right? phonology, sound symbols, syllables, morphology, syntax, and semantics. Those are the 6 evidence-based components. Then we have 3 evidence-based teaching principles, right? So we want to make sure it's systematic, it's cumulative, it's explicit, and diagnostic. And then with that, when you take those 2 together, that's really where you're going to get substantial reading growth.
So structured literacy or foundations, this was the big question. We put it out to our staff and asked them to let us know what their thoughts were. In the small pie chart, you'll see what the staff recommended, 49%, 51%. So we were half and half with our staff. Do we keep foundations and move totally to structured literacy, or do we replace it? So as we're thinking about this and we read the recommendations, the primary recommendations of the staff were not that they didn't like structured literacy or that it wasn't rigorous. It was, this is going to be a new program and this is going to be a lot to implement at once. So with that, the committee took the feedback, went through it all, and they put, a recommendation forward. And the ELA committee, 82.6% said, let's replace foundations. Let's rip off the Band-Aid. Let's move forward with structured literacy. We will put the supports in place. So we are going to move forward with replacing foundations. However, we're going to reserve foundations for intervention. We're going to reserve it for a small group. We're going to be able to use it and keep the materials in the classroom for the staff so that they don't have to feel uncomfortable with implementing everything at once. But our formal structured literacy program will be into readings, structured literacy.
So as we discussed before, we want to look at the whole class instruction as well. So it's really important to know that these foundational skills and progressions are all aligned to the science of reading, but they all scaffold, right, through the progression from each grade level, and they build upon one another. So an example, if we look at grade 4, we're applying decoding skills, right? But now we're looking at prefixes, suffixes, and roots, and we're using that fluency in passages and reading multi-syllabic words. Also, when we look at the development of academic vocabulary, right, that's going to increase based on the grade level content. So they all connect and spiral off of each other. And now we want to introduce Felix Plata, supervisor of ESL and world language.
So yes, I also want to commend the entire committee, the work that was put into it, all the teachers, and looking at all lenses, the quality of the program for all of our students. What I saw, and what most of the committee members also saw who piloted the program, as well as were just reviewing the materials, were the intentional supports that existed within the program for families of multilingual learners, students, and the teachers who for a time have been struggling on acquiring the resources to support the students, the multilingual learners in their classrooms. So that intentional support that exists in the program was clear in promoting not just the literacy, which obviously is what we're all here for English language arts, but also that language development. There are tons of resources and supports for the teacher to support the students with their language development. Some additional features that exist in the program, there's a multilingual toolkit in the program that has, again, resources that are aligned to the lessons in the program to support the multilingual students in the classrooms. There's also a tabletop and other scaffolds like sentence stems to support the students in small group instruction. Additionally, there are opportunities and resources to support the multilingual families at home. There are parent letters that come in over 20 translated languages so that the parents and the families can feel as though they're involved, that they know what's happening in the program, in the instruction in the classroom, as well as the teachers' editions, which teachers have access to online, with tons of embedded resources, sentence stems, questions, differentiated questions, and parts of the lesson for the multilingual learners at different proficiency levels. So in all, the program really did support the multilingual learners, and all the committee members saw that. So, thank you.
So as communicated through several people tonight, right, the flexible resources really support differentiation, intervention supports, grade level content, and extension, right, for our higher students as well, for when we need to give enrichment. So it supports our multi-tiered system. We have Rigby libraries, classroom libraries. We have decodable text, right, for our younger readers who are starting to read. We have read and respond journals, right? So that is basically, we might be used to those old school textbooks when we were in school, but they have these interactive books where the student has it. They can engage with the text, they can annotate, they can highlight, they can mark things up. We have the tabletop mini lessons for the students for small group and to support our multilingual learners as well. And then there's additional online supports, just so many on there to list. And now I'm going to call Amanda Goldman, who is a special education teacher, and she's going to talk a little bit about the special education portion.
So as we've said, there are so many opportunities for differentiation. In exploring the materials, I've used the read and response journal articles that we were just speaking about, and they're great. The stories are engaging, and it provides a scaffold for students to be reading and practicing the responding right away, marking up their text. There's also slides that will focus on a foundational skill set, and then it's linked with a decodable book, and it's right there. It's all so seamless. And when we then add in the structured literacy component, we're going to have a foundation for all of our readers. I think that as I used the materials, I kept thinking about how this was serving the students in my room, but also how this would serve the students that my colleagues are working with. And we know that New Jersey requires us to have one curriculum for all of our students. And I kept seeing in these materials so many opportunities, like this would be really great for these two students, and this will be really great for that, for the needs of this group. I think that it's really exciting that we can have materials that are serving all of our students so well. And then another piece that is exciting to have, that's okay. My fault. Oh boy.
And that concludes the presentation.
There's a really great social emotional component to this program. And some people say everything you need to learn, you learned in kindergarten, right? There's all of the social emotional learning that we value so much in elementary school is embedded in the program. And my students loved this. There's videos, and it's supported with vocabulary and then text discussion. So all of our literacy goals are happening as we're also teaching empathy, as we're teaching how to resolve conflict. And to me, that's what elementary education is all about. And there's so many resources that are engaging for our students. So it's exciting.
Thank you. So cross-curricular connections were critical. You'll see in Let Freedom Ring and Rise to the Occasion, very specific connections to social studies, natural disasters, specific connections to science. This is a requirement for NJQSAC, and really just for the student to be able to exit one class, enter another, transferring the skills and the understandings that they are developing. There are specific ties to essential questions so that the students are, again, developing those critical thinking skills. And here we see just knowledge maps. So they're teaching students how to think, teaching students how to make the connections between the ideas that they're learning in their readers and the connections to real life application and the connections to other content areas. Culturally responsive and relevant learning environment is our priority, as the board knows and as our public knows, right? We are focused on diversity, equity, access, and we are needing to integrate it thoroughly through all of our curriculum. It's not just a holiday that we're celebrating, right? It's thinking about the 8 competencies for culturally responsive teaching. It's creating a welcoming and affirming environment, setting those high expectations, rigorous instruction in every single classroom, an inclusive curriculum and assessment, and providing ongoing professional learning support through a diverse set of texts that are relevant. Relevance matters. And so we have a fundamental belief in West Orange and the ability of all of our students to learn. We need to see that in a wide range of cultural content with dynamic instruction, and also have a strong home-school partnership.
So it's important that we give students opportunities to engage in such texts so they can build their knowledge, they can apply their independent skills, and doing it through books that can serve as windows into other people's experiences or into mirrors of seeing their own identity and their own cultures as well. In addition, we want to make sure we're keeping book clubs and literature circles going, right? That's important for students to have those opportunities to engage and collaborate in these conversations, to take on roles together. So we want to make sure that we're doing that also, and they're accessing through diversity and inclusivity of text. And then we want to, there's inquiry and research projects, right, to give them performance-based opportunities to now apply what they learned in these units. And that could be done through making an invention or creating a book trailer, or just even making a documentary and integrating those social studies and science skills as well.
So we've talked to you about the source, right? Interreading as a resource. And so what's the model? Here are the assessments. So in the center, you will see all of the assessments that will be embedded into daily instruction. So this is every day. This is not separate and apart from. It's not pulling the students. Interreading comes with a very expansive and robust set of assessments ranging from independent practice to weekly assessments to cold reads, selection quizzes, unit assessments, the inquiry-based research that Ms. Hanratty just spoke of, and et cetera. On the left-hand side, you will see the interactive early literacy assessment for K1. These are for all students entering into the grade so that we can assess those foundational skills through inventory. And then, of course, we have our DIBBLE screener so that we're making sure that we're assessing students and understanding their needs in that area. And across the bottom, you will see that we will continue to implement our iReady diagnostic, but only as a diagnostic. So here we will be aligning it to, it is aligned already to state standards, and we will be pulling from those standards. You will notice Fontes and Pinnell is at the bottom, and that is a wondering for us. At this point, what we're doing is we are exploring the Interreading Rigby benchmark. So teachers have started exploring it. Today, they were administering it to students to see if we could replace Fontes and Pinnell with it. It looks promising. We're not ready to say that today. But it looks promising. So if we move in that direction of the Interreading Rigby benchmark, then we will only use Fontes and Pinnell for students who need to be INRS or who require Tier 3 intervention, or et cetera. So that is still being explored. This would be the whole model then. Yellow, K-5 Interreading as our core comprehensive reading and assessment program. We will continue with K1 Heggerty, phonemic awareness. We are replacing foundations with Interreading structured literacy, multi-tiered systems and instructional support for special education and multilingual learners throughout, and then our diagnostic at the bottom, and my path will be independent learning at home. Bookended by all of the assessments because we begin and end with our assessment in mind.
So we talked about all the different populations that it supports, but we want to make sure that there's a home connection, right? And that home connection is strong. So we did begin meeting with parents all of last week, and we have another evening this week to continue to give them opportunities to explore some grade level materials, give them access to a demo account on how to access the materials and resources. And this is the QR code and the sample login for parents to get in and to continue to explore. And in addition, there's strong supports for families. So a lot of the family letters come in multiple languages. Some other resources come in other languages, not everything. But there is a lot of support to that. And then there's also a family room on the website, and it gives parents other materials that aren't content related, such as questions to ask questions your teacher would want you to ask your children, or just how to get your kids talking about school. So some things, if you'll see the icon, it could be a video, it could be a printout, or just something to read, and it gives you exactly how long it is, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. They try to keep them short and quick for parents to access, but it's a whole nother piece of the platform.
So for next steps and fidelity of implementation, we are closing our current programs, foundations. We need to speak to our staff, go back to them to let them know we're replacing and what it would look like for small group. And then we're going to assess if we're staying with Fontes and Pinnell or not. Our professional development would begin with staff as soon as April 15th and June 3rd are half days. Those are already planned. Should we get the go ahead? And then ongoing for next year, our administrators are already in training. We'll continue to receive training. We will order our instructional materials mañana, tomorrow, so that we can get our teachers' guides in their hands before they leave for the summer, and so that they have them for the professional development in April. Our curriculum development starts the last week of June. We're coming together as a team. It'll be all general education teachers for developing the curriculum in reading and assessment. And we will have ESL there. We will have our special ed there. So it will be everybody together writing curriculum. Curriculum development will continue into next year. And then next year, we will pilot writing. This is an adoption for reading only. We were not prepared to adopt both at the same time. And if I were able to click on the new writing standards, it's about 3 pages long of new writing standards, not revised, brand new. So that's a whole adoption by itself. So here are the fidelity of implementation and supports. We need to support our staff. We need to make sure we're assessing if the program is working and how it's going. So we will have in-classroom coaching with HMH. We will have learning walks, instructional rounds, analyze our data, student work analysis, lesson plan alignment, and grade level team meetings so that we can make sure that we are moving along the path. We are implementing with fidelity. We are measuring our progress and seeing what we need to do to just make sure everything is implemented well, right? And that we're getting the outcomes that we expect. And that's it. Thank you for your patience and for bearing with us. It was 2 years worth of work, so we tried to just wrap it up. We'll take questions. Thank you for coming back. Okay. Yeah, we need to have everyone on the microphone. Take a trip over here.
Thank you. First, Ebony and Beatrice, I want to say thank you for that wonderful presentation. I think it was very clear and it was very, it was concise because I know you had a lot more to add to that. So I thank you for it. But I turned to the teachers and the principals and supervisors. Thank you. Thank you for, you know, yeah, thank you. You know, when I came on as superintendent, similar to as a principal, the team approach seems to be the way that I ever had success. And to see that you embodied that in terms of trying to figure it out for us with ELA, I know that there's no better answer than when we go to the sources and the people that work with the kids and know what to do. I know last year I did a lot of little listening tours and listening to teachers and so forth, but it was always the promise that if we're going to do something or make some changes, we're going to need you to help do that. And you did that. You stepped up. You came about. You delved into it. You're very astute about it. You understand it. You've recognized it. Principals such as Mr. Price are just priceless, no pun intended, but they are, because it shows us here as residents of the community and community members how much you care for the kids, and we appreciate that. And we do want our kids to make sure they improve and strive. So thank you so much for putting the work in, but also thank you for understanding that we need your buy-in, and in order to get that, we need your knowledge and we need your strength and your ability to get this across. So I appreciate the hard work you put in, and be prepared that all movement and decisions we make going forth is a group thing. It's an our thing. It's an all of us, and no one has better answers than we do right here in West Orange. So thank you so much for all you've done. I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. That when I see the way you work together, that truly makes the difference, and I appreciate that. To Ebony, Beatrice, and to the other administrators, thank you for having the fortitude and being able to make sure you include and being inclusive, but not just by symbolic, but by meaningful ways, and really listening and hearing and implementing what is said and what is done. That will make the difference for us. We in West Orange have to connect from central office to the buildings at all times in order for us to be successful. So I appreciate that. It really meant a lot to me to see this come together. And I'm confident in the decision going forward because we all contributed and worked together on that decision. So if there's nothing else in my tenure, this is what I'd like to see. This makes me quite proud to be the superintendent of West Orange Schools. So thank you. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the work you guys did. Thank you. Right. Dia, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'd like to echo that appreciation and really commend your thoroughness, your attention to detail in the process that is obviously clear, and your attention to the populations that are here in our town. So kudos to you. Fantastic. It's more of a request than a question. As you all begin to think about you have PD on April 15th, you have PD on June 3rd, and you're going to be moving fully away from foundations in September. That feels a little scary to me without seeing a transition plan tonight. And so would really love, once you have those details hammered out, to see a transition plan from foundations into structured literacy, and something from like what you're going to do with F&P, because I know that's a hairy thing. So would love to just, when you have that information, when you all have come up with that, have some details on that.
Thank you.
So I again want to echo what's been said earlier and commend the administrators and the teachers. I'll take personal privilege in saying, as a proud Redwood Rocket, or the parent of 2 Redwood Rockets, it's great to see my children's teachers in the building, my children's principal in the building, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Price, thank you for your vote of confidence for the program. As board members, we often are disconnected from these types of discussions in the granular way. But I appreciate the fact that Mr. Price and Ms. DeMeo and Ms. Jackson have made themselves available to have these kind of thorough discussions about curriculum and instruction, particularly around ELA, for the benefit of our children, because that's ultimately what we're here for. And I think that when our teachers are now armed with a more comprehensive ELA curriculum that allows them to prepare and ready our students, just not for the year that they're in, but for subsequent years, so that they may be successful across the board, I think that is significant. I want to thank Ms. Mendez and Ms. Hanratty for their leadership in coordinating, organizing, and ensuring a process that allowed teacher voice to be elevated in the process. I want to thank our superintendent just for his outstanding leadership to drive the process, not let the process get put on the shelf, but really put this in place in a way where everyone walks away feeling good about it. I will tell you this curriculum and instruction and student achievement, curriculum and instruction as the foundation of that is near and dear to me. And these are conversations that on background I've had with three superintendents by which in the time that I've been on the board, but I'm most pleased that under Mr. Moore's leadership, we have really accelerated not in a way that does a disservice, but accelerated in a way that it has incorporated, as I said earlier, teacher voice, the administrator responsibility, and it really has facilitated a good buy-in. So when I saw Mr. Price earlier this evening, and he gave me the thumbs up, any doubts that I may have had really subsided. I will echo Dr. Bryant's point about how some of the implementations will work in terms of sunsetting foundations, which I think at its core has been the ELA curriculum for the most part, what parents see, right? We see the ELA assessments that happen. We may not necessarily know everything that's going on in the classroom with respect to writing. I know this is not tackle writing, as you mentioned earlier, Mr. Mendez, but so I think when parents hear you're getting rid of foundations, we kind of want to know, how will that be done? There are a lot of resources there. How will differentiation take place? How will we use the materials in a way that addresses the needs of the various populations, and just not looking at pullouts and intervention, but also stretch, right? Also our GNT population, our kids that are achieving at high levels, that there is, we know that now, based on what you presented tonight, there's sufficient materials, but is there sufficient time by which these things can happen within a classroom setting? And more importantly, is there sufficient accountability to ensure that it does? And I think as a parent and as a board member, those things are critical for me. So again, I echo the kudos of my board colleagues, the words of the superintendent, and thank you all for your work tonight.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask one question? I just had one question. One of the slides, I was so happy that I think it was, there was a wide consensus from the teachers that they wanted this new program. And then I saw the other one that was like 51-48 or something, and I got a little confused. So what's that all about?
So it was 74.4% for interreading.
Yeah.
So that was confidence.
Yes.
Replace foundations or not was the 49-51. Foundations is a phonics program that we use in K-2. And so then when we looked at what the teachers were asking there, it was more so to give an opportunity for gradual release. So that's kind of where we're sitting, in a gradual release of foundations. We're not removing the materials, but we are leaning toward replacing it. The timeline, the transition, when we'll do it is what we are exploring. The same thing with Fontes and Pinnell. There's an ask for us to look at Fontes and Pinnell. We're going to see if what we have there is sufficient in the Rigby benchmark. And if so, then there will be a gradual release. We will begin to discuss and explore how we move away from it.
So 71% of the teachers want this new.
74.41 to reading.
I
Yes,
hate
sir.
to be the pessimist, but I wasn't here for the, what was it for the previous program? Was it also very strongly in favor of it?
I wasn't here with you.
Okay, so we're just gonna forget that. We'll just move on.
You're talking about prior to the ELA, prior to balanced literacy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it's great that if the teachers aren't supportive of it, it doesn't stand a chance. So I think that's a very positive sign. So I was happy to see that.
They're excited.
Good.
We're there. They're right. You're excited. Woohoo!
First of all, good evening, everyone. I didn't have a chance to say hi to everybody today. And, I went to one of the presentations and I really want to express my admiration to you, Mr. Mendez, for the kind of work that you are doing. And to all the teachers who contribute to implement the plan during this period of time. I don't have no doubt that you are going to do or integrate this curriculum or this program into K-5. And I don't have no doubt that it's going to be an excellent program. All the input that you expressed today, it was really, I can see the passion that you put into the work that you did. And I know that you are going to develop all the, the activities and lesson plans and do the modifications because you are an expert in the field that you are doing right now. Thank you very much for all the support that you contribute with Mr. Mendez in order to take this new program into place. And thank you for being here tonight and all of you who were part of this development of so to take into consideration this new program.
Right. The hour's late, so I'll be brief and just say thank you, Mr. Mendez, for your hard work, and especially thank you to the committee. It's great to see this level of collaboration from the, oh, yes, thank you. But it's great to see this level of collaboration all the way from the classroom teacher through the administration up to central office. When we all work together, this is how we can be successful. So thank you again to everybody.
I'm not sure, but next on the agenda. I wasn't sure if we could go on. I was hoping that I'd get a little signal, but okay. Yeah, well, next on, oh, go ahead.
If it pleases the president, can we swap item G and item F? So the superintendent can conclude his report with the budget presentation and do the HIB report first?
True.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, that'll work. So since our last board meeting, we've had 2 HIB investigations throughout the district. I've reviewed and summarized the investigation. Both have been determined unfounded, and I concur with the findings of the anti-bullying specialist. Okay, so now for the elephant in the room. At this time, I'm going to give the preliminary budget presentation for 24-25. So I ask the board to please take a seat and allow me a chance to review the budget.
We're gonna move back over here. Just give me one moment.
I might have to. The screen up. Yeah. I think I can. I can see. Oh, yeah, no, not sure. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the preliminary budget presentation this for the 24-25 school year. But it starts with budget challenges. This year, our budget was cut, and you'll see that throughout the presentation, but it presented themselves with some difficult choices and some difficult challenges. There are no specific choices or challenges here. There are no jobs listed or anything like that. However, I think it's as we're doing the preliminary and we're taking a look, and this news came to us about 2 weeks ago, so it's new. But we're aware that we're going to face some difficult challenges and some difficult choices to make. Let's take a look. Our district is comprised of 13 schools, approximately 6,800 students. And if you take a look at your school, you can see your enrollment. Our budgetary goals are simple. It's continue to provide funding to maintain a safe environment in all buildings, increase and support student achievement while optimizing district spending, review and evaluate district expenditures to identify opportunities for efficiencies and financial savings. A review of the budget and the comparison. If you take a look, the story begins with state aid. 22-23, so we had about 29 million. In 23-24, we were at about 34 million. We expected to go up in 24-25, but we didn't. Instead, we went down we were cut 702,000, which is over a 2% cut to our budget. Why that's important? Yep. Is it impacts us greatly. So the decrease in state aid coupled with the annual increase in expenditures created a substantial budget deficit. Let's take a look at what I mean. If you take a look at where it says increases, that column shows you just the natural increase in cost of living and prices, how much salaries have went up, benefits have went up. Let's go to instructional support. And we'll go down to transportation costs as well as preschool. So in total, our budget has went up about $8 million just on natural growth due to cost of living. So as a result and a cut, our district cuts are required. So to all departments, I've already challenged them to look at supplies and equipment. All our outsourced contracted services, we'll have to take a look at doing a lot more in-house. Right now, looking at the preliminary numbers, we're looking at 30 to 40 district-wide staff reductions, and that goes from preschool all the way up to central office. We will, of course, work on wherever we get retirements or resignations, not replacing. Non-renewals, we will look to do without. Staff may have to be transferred to fill positions throughout our district. That part of the slide is not to scare you or to say, you know, this is just to lead us into depression, but it's to allow you a chance to understand transparency as we spoke about with ELA. It is better that we talk about this within 2 weeks rather than we wait till May to discuss where things will have to go. This is preliminary. There is nothing exact, nothing surgical, nowhere I can say this is where we need to make the cuts and here and there. But know that just reviewing the numbers and where we stand right now, those are the challenges that we face. If you look at the tax levy increase to the general fund, you see that that's about 4,200,000. And let's talk about the estimated impact on the homeowners of West Orange, which includes me. We're looking at we're looking at an impact of a 2.77% with a fiscal impact of about $261.93 per year. It just happens to be less than that last year, which is a decrease of $34.89 because we were somewhere at $296.82 last year. So look at the timeline. Today, we wanted to make sure we discussed the budget and we wanted to present it to you, make sure we present it to the community and let them know the challenges that we face. By April 24th, we do have to send the county our budget for approval. And by May 6th, we will have to adopt the final budget. So in between tonight and April 24th, we would have to have some idea of what we're doing. But really, by May 6th, I believe, right, Tanya? Before May 6th, we will know exactly what cuts should be in place and what we will do, what we can't do. So this isn't an easy process for any of us. And if you know me, being a longtime West Orange person, definitely not an easy thing for me to hear or for me to do. But it is part and parcel of what goes on when our budget is cut so steep, unfortunately. Well, thank you. Well, that's all, folks. No, no, it's not easy talking, so I kind of appreciate that. But the reality is that we received a cut that was unexpected because we didn't expect to receive that cut. And as things have increased, all the plans we are not going to be able to do any of those right now. And on top of not being able to do any of the things we forecasted and different people we were looking to hire and so forth, we still have to make some cuts just to make sure we balance the budget. So it's not the best time in West Orange right now because of that, but we will do our best. I give you my word, we will work our best to work on areas in which we do not cut as many positions as we may need. We are hoping not to do that by finding money elsewhere. I have to tell you, we have a wonderful business administrator who has made all kinds of calls and have looked in all different areas to see where we can have a cost savings. We have a terrific board who listen to benefits today to see where if we can save money in certain areas, because they understand the importance of the work that you do and that I do, and they know that this is very difficult. Of course, our priority when making cuts will be not impact the student as much as possible. So although I will say that all cuts impact students some which way or another, our priority is to try not to impact student programs and still offer the things we offer to our students, because that's what makes us special here at West Orange. And it is all about the student experience for us. But I want to be transparent with you and let you know that we're in a challenging situation. We are in a challenging situation. And some of those cuts are inevitable. But better we know now, and we work with it and give us a chance to work it as best we possibly can. And hopefully we'll have better news than this, but we do have to make cuts. I don't want to make promises that I can't keep. And I want to make sure I tell you things that keep me up at night. So, but they do. But we do have to face these challenges, and West Orange is in a moment and a time where we have to try to balance a budget. And it is not going to be our easiest time we've had here. It is going to be difficult, but it will come. And I will have to make some tough decisions along with some of our other administrators, right? I thank you guys for listening. I thank the public for listening, and to the board, if you have any questions or anything or that you want, I'm here now, or we can return to okay, so let's return back to the days. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Moore. Just so the public's aware, we have met with the administration several times as pairs to receive updates on this budget. So we've asked them a lot of questions already. So although I will open it to questions from the board at this time, I'll ask them to save the lengthy questions for some of our follow-up meetings. But if there's anything pressing we want to get to tonight, please do ask. And then for the public, during public comment, if you have any comments or questions, it's open to you. Does anybody on the board have questions they want to ask Mr. Moore at this point or Ms. Flowers?
I'll just make a quick note that it's unfortunate that there was a budget cut, as Mr. Moore said. It was unanticipated for our state legislators that are out there listening. West Orange is the only municipality in all of Essex County whose state aid was cut. That is unprecedented. And obviously, as a board member, as a member of the community, it's unfortunate. And I think that certain funding criteria and the decisions by which funding is made likely needs some level of review to make sure that there is parity and equity in funding across townships for the funding of public education. So whatever is unique about West Orange that allowed us to receive not even flat funding, but a decrease of $702,000 certainly should draw some scrutiny, and the community should be aware that we're in this position due to an unanticipated reduction in state aid.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. On that note, I have done some research into the way the state funding formula works, and Ms. Flowers supplied me with a number of the state aid notices for the last several years to investigate. I'll save you the details, but like Mr. Stevenson hinted, there are some issues with the formula. We represent an anomaly this year in the way that it was run. So I have met with one of our assemblywomen, Alexon Coyazas-Gill, and her chief of staff to discuss this and present them with kind of some education on the shortcomings of the formula. And I'm also setting up a meeting with Senator Joe McKeon to share the same with him and his staff. So while I can't guarantee that'll change anything per se, I will make sure that our legislators are aware and that they're talking about it. And I think if they don't resolve this issue for us this year, it's something that's going to come back around and hit other districts next year. So like Mr. Stevenson said, I'll implore the legislature to look at this seriously, not just for our sake, but for, public schools throughout New Jersey, that we can't deal with ups and downs and fluctuations in our budget of this magnitude. It's unsustainable. But thank you, Mr. Moore and Ms. Flowers, for your work on this. I know that you don't take this lightly, and I know you will do your hardest to make tough decisions that will balance everything that we need to accomplish and keep students in your forefront of your mind.
Thank you, President Rowe. And that concludes the superintendent report.
Thank you for that. Considering how lengthy this meeting is, I will forego a lengthy president's report, but just say that I did have the privilege to go to Washington and Gregory during Read Across America. So thank you to those schools for inviting me. It was wonderful to have a chance to read to some of your students. Were you going to say something, Mr. Ivica? I think I skipped.
Very
Yeah,
briefly.
sorry.
Yeah, I also had the pleasure of going to Gregory for Read Across America. I'm not going to mention the young lady's name, but I was very impressed. There was a fourth grade class. We read one book, and I think we both, the students and I, had so much fun that we read a second book. And one of the book, I forget what it was, something about a little boy has an idea, and it follows him around like a cloud, and he's embarrassed. He doesn't want people to make fun of him. And whatever it was, the idea was that you should be proud of your ideas and follow them through. So I asked the class of fourth graders, tell me an idea that you think's a big idea that changed the world. And I thought they would say, the light bulb or the wheel or fire. This little girl raises her hand. She says, Dr. Martin Luther King fighting against segregation. I was like, wow, that is a smart girl. Her parents should be proud and her teachers should be proud. I was proud. And then the other thing is, as the liaison to town council from the Board of Education, I speak on a regular basis with Councilwoman Michelle Casalino. We had our usual conversation. And one of the thing that took most of our time was the topic of student safety when it comes to school buses. There's been some more discussion about that lately, and I know that the superintendent takes that very seriously. And just to let people know that that's on our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll also add that last week or the week before, I had the privilege of attending another Eagle Court of Honor for John Kaplanis of Troop 2, earned his Eagle Scout Award. So congratulations to him. We appear to have a lot of Eagle Scouts here in West Orange. With that, move on to our agenda items. The next item on the agenda is the first reading of policy number 5111, eligibility of resident/non-resident students. The policy has been reviewed and revised by administration and presented this evening for first reading. Is there any discussion or questions? Mr. Stevens, do you want to, can you say anything as policy chair?
So this is an existing policy. Thank you, President Rock. Mr. Ipker, this is an existing policy that has some revised language with respect to the eligibility of resident and non-resident students in the district. So it's undergoing a first reading. The first reading is taking place publicly tonight. There'll be a second reading, and it'll be up for approval at the April 15th.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? No. All right, hearing none, this policy will appear on the next agenda for second reading and adoption. Next, we will have questions from the public on agenda items only. Any community member who would like to make comments or ask questions, please come to the podium at this time. Please state your name and home address for the record, then begin your comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have any members of the public here in the audience tonight who wish to make public comments? All right, seeing none. We'll move on to our resolutions. May I have a motion to approve the personnel items A1 through A4?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ipker. Is there any discussion? I just want to congratulate the following retirees. David Sayre, a social studies teacher here at West Orange High School for his 26 years of service. Tania Tomasi, a technology integration specialist at Central Office for her 21 years of service. Deborah Daniel, an administrative assistant at Central Office for her 34.5 years of service. Elise Reuter, a management information systems coordinator at Central Office for her 20.5 years of service. And Cynthia Zune, a paraprofessional at Kelly Elementary for her 1.5 years of service. Thank you all for your service to the West Orange Board of Education and our students and our school community. And on behalf of all of us, welcome to the club where every day is Saturday. If there's no other discussion, Ms. Flowers, please take the roll.
Dr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Ipker?
Here.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Vice President Vera?
Yes.
President Rock?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, may I have a motion to approve the curriculum and instruction items B1 through B6?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Is there a second?
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Bryant. Is there any discussion on this?
Just a reminder to the community, President Rock, as a point of clarification, that this the motion on item B, curriculum instruction, does include the approval both of the curriculum and of the funds to support the HMH curriculum that was presented tonight by Mr. Mendez and Ms. Hanratty in the committee.
Yes, which we've already discussed at length, so I think we can echo our comments from before. Any other comments on curriculum and instruction? All right, Ms. Flowers, please take the roll.
Dr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Ipker?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Vice President Vera?
Yes.
President Rock?
Yes.
Thank you.
You all worked hard. You can clap for that. All right. No. Next, may I have a motion to approve the finance items C, special services items A1 through 3, and business office items B1 through 17.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Vera. On behalf of the Board of Ed, I would like to thank the Gregory School PTA for their very generous donation of $100,000 to be used towards the purchase and installation of the playground equipment at their school. That can get applause. That is some hard work. Is there any other discussion on this agenda item? No. All right, seeing none, Ms. Flowers, please take the roll.
Dr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Ipker?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Vice President Vera?
Yes.
President Rock?
Yes. All right, and next, may I have a motion to approve reports items D1 through 2?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ipker. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Flowers, please take the roll.
Dr. Bryant,
Yes.
Mr. Ifker,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Vice President Vera,
Yes.
President Rock.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much to all my board colleagues for that. Next up, we have petitions and hearings of citizens for any agenda or non-agenda item that you wish to discuss. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Please approach the podium at this time and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, thank you very much. Our next board meeting will be held at 6:30 p.m. on April 15th, 2024. This meeting will be held in the West Orange High School Library Media Center. We will not be going into executive session after the close of this meeting. There will be no further business discussed and no additional action will be taken. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
That took a little too long. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All in favor? Aye. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our meeting is now adjourned. We wish you a good night.